Hello, and welcome to our Path Research Project presentation. In this video, we will talk about a collection of tips and services a good student would take advantage of while at UW-Bothell. While the video will focus mainly on the upcoming physics major, there is plenty of relevant information for everyone. Let's begin. As part of this segment, we will show you what good and bad study habits look like. The three areas of focus are good note-taking, time management, and doing homework. We'll start with note-taking. When taking notes, be active. Highlight important ideas, ask questions, and organize your notes for ease of use later. Here's an example of what good note-taking looks like. As you can see, important information is boxed, the main topic is underlined, and the person taking notes even posed a question at the bottom for later analysis. Here's an example of what a good student would do.
I wonder why attention is pulling it this way as well. Guess I'll ask the professor later.
And this is what bad note-taking looks like. Just sitting, staring hopelessly. Next, let's talk about time management. Always keep up to date with homework on Canvas or whatever website your professor posts homework due dates on. Start early if you can, and don't be afraid to get help at the QSC or the Writing Center if you need it. They are great resources which we will talk about in a bit. Put aside time for homework, and making a schedule is a good way to stay on top of things. Here's what a good student would do when trying to balance his personal life with schoolwork.
Hey dude, you want to hang out today? It's Wednesday, my day off.
Oh, I can't, man. I got homework from 6 to 8. What are you doing tomorrow, though? I only have Nixon's homework from 3 to 4.
Sure, I can hang out then.
Sweet, bro. And here's what poor time management looks like.
Hey man, it's Wednesday. It's my day off. You want to hang out?
I have homework later from 6 to 8. But that's okay.
Now let's discuss homework and studying. Most of us dread it, but here's the thing. By reading over your organized notes and doing the problems assigned by your professor, you prepare yourself for whatever knowledge or technique testing obstacle that stands in your way in that class. Don't wait until the last minute to do it. This only causes stress and takes away from the quality of your work. Don't do homework or study when you're extremely tired if you can help it either. You won't retain as much as you could have should you have been more awake. Here's what not to do.
This homework's due in 15 minutes. But the Kardashians is on in 10. I can put this off till later.
In sum, good note-taking, time management, and homework habits collectively make up good study habits. This segment is going to be all about what major to choose. If you're interested in modeling the world quantitatively, a major in physics might be the degree for you. Although this major won't be available until January 2016, it's best to start planning now. The first thing you have to do is figure out what you enjoy doing, what you enjoy studying, and what field or degree you can go into that would support what you love. For example, an English major probably won't be of much use to you if all you want to do is work with equations and quantifiable problems. A degree in physics, on the other hand, is all about measuring the forces of nature. Well, that's great and all, but what about minoring in something? I mean, should I minor in something? The short answer is yes. Minoring in one or two things not only makes your resume look fuller and better, but you gain more usable knowledge that can aid you in your major. For example, when majoring in physics, a math minor or computer science minor might be of use to you, because you'll have more experience with math and you'll learn how to program the equations you learned in physics to create your own simulations. So now that you know what major you want to be in, who should you talk to? The best people to talk to about the upcoming physics degree are Buck Warren and Matthew Debbies. They are great lecturers and will answer any questions you have about the major. And that's the thing. You have teachers and people from the academic advising office to help you figure out what you want to do and what it will take to get there. Don't be the student that never asks questions. For some real solid advice, we got in contact with two great professors, Brianna Binder and Aaron Hill. We'll start with what Brianna had to say.
So the default advice is to take as many math and physics classes as possible. I would also add, especially if you're thinking of going to grad school and doing a more research-focused track, to also practice writing as much as possible. A lot of students who are really into physics, who are really into astronomy, tend to be very good on the math and science end of things, which is very important. But ultimately, what's going to make your career as a researcher is how well you can sell your science to a funding committee. And so usually that comes in the form of writing proposals for grants, writing research statements for job applications. So the better you can get at writing and convincing other people that your stuff is important, the better off you're going to be. So that is probably the number one piece of advice I would give, is don't neglect developing your writing skills, because they are going to be extremely important. Like in my job, I say at least half of my time is spent writing.
Really?
Yeah. So don't neglect it. You will be spending most of your time writing once you get there. Sure. So I teach Introduction to Astronomy, so B Physics 101. That is a, as the name implies, it's a 101 class. It's a very introductory course. We just kind of touch on a little bit of everything in modern astronomy. And let's see what else. In the near future, we're going to be, so starting next quarter, we're going to actually have a physics major here at Bothell. So along with the physics major, there are various upper division electives that you can take to get a concentration in some sub area of physics. So we're going to have an astrophysics concentration, which hopefully I will be teaching those because I developed the classes. So hopefully in the next couple of years, those courses will roll out. So it's Introduction to Astrophysics. The first quarter focuses on stars, the second quarter focuses on galaxies, and the third quarter is largely cosmology. And that's a much more rigorous, like using calculus, they're 300 level classes, so they're 4 upper division physics majors, so they're a much more physicsy look at astronomy and astrophysics.
Next, let's see what Aaron Hill had to say when asked the same questions. As I mentioned earlier, there are a number of great services on campus that are designed solely to help you succeed. The ones we will be exploring in detail that we think are extra useful for someone aiming for a physics major are the library, the Writing Communication Center, and the QSC. First of all, a good student would use the library as the vast collection of checkoutable information that it is. Yes, checkoutable. Unlike a lot of internet articles, the books offered are legitimate and cite every claim in their pages. While we're on the topic of internet, they have a lot of computers that you can use too, just in case if you don't have a laptop or your assignment's online and you can't access it at home. The Writing Center is another great resource and a place a good student might find himself a lot of the time. Being a collective of good writers that can look over your college essays, these guys have 3 ways of direct contact and assistance. That's right, 3. Face-to-face conversations, online conferences, and phone conferences. On top of that, the webpage offers a link to a large collection of resources that are designed to improve your writing on your own time. For those of you looking for that face-to-face conversation, that way you can get the most out of your experience, here are their hours. The QSC is the last student service I'll be talking about. The QSC is probably your most important tool as a physics major student. There you'll find a staff of tutors who are able to help you with your homework and answer questions you have about the quantitative topics you are studying. While they don't know everything, they are certainly an amazing resource for you if you are struggling. Test coming up and you feel a little uneasy about some of the problems on the review? Bring it into the QSC and sit down with a tutor specific to that field. That's what the good student would do. Now, being considered a bad student in this case would involve failing to ask questions when you're confused. Even worse, not getting help when you don't understand something could be detrimental to your learning experience. We all like to figure things out, but don't be afraid to ask questions. Here's what Amber Parsons, head of the QSC, had to say.
Effective students are students who have read the book, they've attended class, they've taken notes, they've tried the homework set, they've tried to apply what they've learned, and they can identify what it is about the problem that they don't know. Even if it's just, I can get to here and now I'm stuck. So a prepared student is really helpful to have when you're trying to problem solve. Other habits of effective students. Effective students are students who have a can-do mindset, an open learning mindset. That is, they don't believe that their understanding of a subject, in particular math, is fixed. That, like, I'm good at math. And then if they hit hard times, all of a sudden, I must not be good at math. But instead they have a mindset that says, hey, there are some challenges in math, but I can apply myself to them, I can think deeply about them, and I can overcome those challenges, and I can learn. So students that have that can-do attitude, rather than either I'm good or I'm not good, or I'm smart or I'm not smart, but just to allow the fact that we're all growing, we're all learning, and to give themselves that freedom. Those are the most effective students, and in all of the studies on the brain and learning, those are the students that are going to achieve the highest in their academic careers.
What are some bad examples?
Bad examples: not going to class, showing up at the QSC and saying, I don't get it, teach me, with no background information, nothing to draw upon. Learning is a very effortful process. Yes, that is actually a word. Effortful is now a word, thanks to neuroscience. Students who expect to be spoon-fed, that's a very poor learning strategy. You need to take charge of your learning and own it, and be proactive, take steps. Simply expecting someone to explain it to you, show you how to do it, or even do it for you is not going to be effective in your learning.
Finally, for this component, we will be going over extracurricular and post-college opportunities that a good student would take advantage of. While at UW-Bothell, you might find it useful to join a club, specifically one oriented around your major. If there are none that suit your liking, you can make your own club. To do so, there are 5 requirements. Number 1, each club must have 5 UW-Bothell students as officers. Number 2, each club must have a permanent faculty member serve as an advisor. Number 3, clubs must submit an updated constitution for approval, which must follow a set of guidelines, outlined by the student council. Number 4, 2 officers must complete officer training led by the student council as well. The 5th and final requirement is that clubs must create a page for their organization on OrgSync. Clubs are great because they bring together like-minded people and you all enjoy a certain topic together, learning as you go. When it comes to thinking about post-college, it's best you check out what you can do to prepare while at UW-Bothell. Trying to get into grad school? Talk to your professors about letters of recommendation. The good student would be going to office hours and doing their best to get good grades at this point. By getting to know your professors more, you show them that you really care about your education. Another way to prepare for post-college is by building a good portfolio as you go. In it should be your proudest accomplishments and proof that you have enough experience under your belt to take on grad school or your career. This leads me to my last thing I'll talk about, and that is study abroad. Study abroad gives students the opportunity to travel the world while learning about the cultures and ecosystems they come across. There are a number of programs available that vary in length, location, and purpose. There are also quite a few financial options available to help you pay for the trip. The best thing you can do once you've decided which program you want to be a part of is to meet with the advisors at the Student Success Center. The experiences you would gain from the trip would look great in your portfolio and would give you a sense of worldliness, which is good for your post-college life. And that's it. In sum, be sure to load up on those math and science classes, but don't forget to keep up your writing skills. Study smart, connect with peers and professors, and take advantage of the extracurricular activities offered. All of this will help make you the best student you can be.